Following program, though incredibly nerdy, is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised, and you probably shouldn't watch if you're an overly sensitive pussy.
Good morning. Welcome. Welcome to the stream and welcome to your Friday show. It's real. The rumors were real. Kathleen Kennedy is retiring. Effective immediately. I think it's effective right now. Effective today. And my God, do I have some yapping to do? Holy shit. And also, thank you, Ahsoka, for the 10 gifted memberships. Appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. So, we got a lot to get into today. I've been up since 5 a.m. and I rose like that guy from the Crypt show back in the day. I rose like this and just... I've been raging and thinking and... trying to figure out how to approach this stream, how to approach this story, because here's the thing. Obviously, it is good that she gone, okay? However, there are a couple of things that kind of complicate it. One being... reports within the last year that kind of speak to Bob Iger and Disney's role in jamming up some of the stuff that happened with Star Wars, to the point even that, you know, beyond just what came out about the Ben Solo movie, but also to the point that I reached out to a lot of people and talked to a lot of people at that time. And so I think we owe Kathy, at the very least, a little bit of a caveat, a little bit of an asterisk here. And we should probably say at the top that at least some of the criticism levied her way was unfair. And actually didn't even belong to her, really belonged to like Bob Iger and Disney and all of that. However, there's a lot of criticism that I think is exactly to be levied at her and it should be laid right at her feet. And so it's like a kind of interesting, complicated thing to get into. I have a lot of thoughts. I'm going to do a lot of yapping today. I have a lot to say. And then we also have some Marvel stuff to get into too. So it should be a good stream. It should be a good show. Let me just ask you, how are you guys feeling, man? How are you guys feeling about the news and just in general? What's going on with you? Let's kind of slowly roll into this stream. We're going to be here for a while, and I have much to yap about. But how y'all doing, man? What's going on? How you feeling about this? Has hope returned? Are we feeling real hopeful? Excited? That's good. And another 5 gifted from Ahsoka. Thank you so much, Ahsoka. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see here. Carl says, so glad we can have this Kathleen Kennedy tribute stream. Star Wars is back. She planned the next 10 years. She's an absolute genius. Long live KK! Oh, man, oh, man. Oh, thank you for that, Carl. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about all of that. Appreciate you, Carl. Thank you. She gone. It's true. She is gone. 2026 off to a great start so far. Okay, this is more optimism than frankly I'm feeling, and more optimism than I expected. So that's good. That's good. We have to believe it gets better from here, right? Yeah. Look, we're yeah. I don't know, guys. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Not in stream much. Miss those I used to talk to. Oh, well, get back in here, brother. It's all good. Maybe something took you away. Life happens, you know. But, we appreciate you. Nah, bro. Dave gets critiqued right on release of Ahsoka Season 2. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It's his creative baby. He will be critiqued as such. Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Man, I've got a lot of thoughts on all of this sort of stuff. You know, Kathleen Kennedy's exit interview was pretty Kathleen Kennedy. You know what I mean? I think that's the best way I could say it before getting into the details and the different takes that I have. She pulled another Kathleen Kennedy. It is actually pretty impressive. And so we'll get into it. We'll get into it all. Zach, appreciate the 5. Says, I'm glad that she's gone, but until they announce that they are canceling all Rey projects, then I'm still skeptical. Much love, Josh. Yeah, well, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, frankly, that's part of what we have to get into today is I think Rey is the future of Star Wars. I think Rey is... Yeah. I think Dave, just in the statement he made, remember when we talked about this? Because what's kind of interesting is the rumors were right, of course. And what I mean is that Puck, I don't really consider this a rumor. It's like an actual report from a trade reporter, right? That's just out on his own, doing his own thing here. But I guess, for people like Rossi, and some of you, unless it comes out from Lucasfilm or whatever, it's unverified, it's a rumor. That's fine. So anyway... So Belloni has this, then Jeff corroborates it, and then it happens. So in a sense, we've already kind of broached a lot of these subjects. We've talked about this a little bit already. And a lot of it is kind of confirming that I think the Rey stuff is the future. That's really what they want to do. They're really focused on that. And then at the time when we were talking about this last week and maybe even earlier this week, I said, whatever Dave says, whatever his statement is going to be really important, And I saw his statement. I think maybe some of you saw his statement, and I found that statement to be unsatisfactory, to say the least. So I mean, he literally talks about Rey in his statement, right? So I think Rey is... I think buckle up. You know what I mean? Like, buckle up for more Rey. So, but appreciate you, Zach. Grip says, with KK leaving, what's your predictions on fans seeing positive change in the content other than Maul and Ahsoka Season 2 Nerve Vengers for like 15 months? Appreciate you, Grip. That's a lot of support, man. Thank you so much. Well, look, part of what we're going to talk about today is Kathy has actually, as she's literally walking out the door, told us what the future of Star Wars is going to be like, which is so fucking ridiculous. But... that being said, she did give us updates on what to expect, and I think those are real because I do think Dave and them are basically going to continue on with what has been going on. When does it get better? Well, I don't know. I mean, better might not even be the right word. I won't. Look, there's a chance Starfighter is a quality movie, and there's a big chance that like Maul is really good, and then Ahsoka season 2 is really good, and then maybe whatever they do next, even if it's the Simon Kinberg trilogy, there's a chance, I guess, that that's good too. I think sort of for me, though, there's a separate question of whether this will be quality in any individual project, or if we're talking more about like a brand cohesion and a rehabilitation for what Star Wars kind of is. And frankly, because I don't know, and I don't have any evidence that Lucasfilm or Dave or anybody over there is really acknowledging what I think are the big problems. I can't really like point to when I think it'll get better, right? Tough one. Zach, thanks for the gifted membership, brother. Philip says, and that's a generous 10 spot, brother, says, I had a thought the other day. If KK told Dave that she had scripts for the next few movies, and Dave says, oh, like what George had, and then a Spartan kicks her out of the door. Well, look, I'm actually glad. It's funny, for sure. That's a nice visual, But I have to say that some of the new reports kind of indicate that that was actually Iger, that Iger was the one that went away from George and George's scripts. Kathy sort of goes along with it, but ultimately that was Bob Iger's decision, and that's one of the things I'd like to kind of, let's really let him hold that. We could say, Kathy, shame on you for going along with that and then not being able to at least make that good. That's totally fair, but I think that decision was actually made by Disney. I actually think the decision to not have the stuff in the parks, I know that's happening right now, and it seems like that's a Dave thing. It could be a Dave thing, but what I've heard is that's a Disney thing. That like Iger basically didn't want to elevate George's stuff at all, and really just wanted to elevate the Disney Star Wars stuff, which kind of makes sense. But yeah, for sure, it's a funny visual. Aku Max, welcome to the Nerd Vengers. You are a Nerd Venger now. John Solo says Simon directed Dark Phoenix and they want to give him 3 movies. Yeah, I mean, Simon is not a hot name in Hollywood. Like, I think that's one way you could say it. I have separate issues with what I think's going on with those movies, but I think at the very least you could look at just look at the caliber of director that Kinberg is, and really the sort of buzz that's associated with him, and does that really feel adequate to the task of Star Wars and maybe what Star Wars needs to do, which is to do better. Yeah. So it's like because we talked about this on the Discord a little bit yesterday. There were people saying, I don't know, I mean, I think Kinberg will probably be all right. Guys, if we're at the point where we're like, maybe this guy that the fandom's already yelling about is going to be all right, then we've already lost. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, Star Wars used to be a brand that you would want to get the most acclaimed, the biggest name. Like, they would want to do that. I'm not saying that's even the way you treat Star Wars, but is that really exciting? I don't think that's exciting. And I think Star Wars needs exciting. And I think the Kinberg choice is like a safe, almost in-house with the way that he's worked with Dave and stuff before, right? But by and large, it's just not an exciting choice at all. Like a Del Toro would excite me. Denis Villeneuve would excite me. He's not going to do it, by the way. He's already said he wouldn't do it. James Cameron would excite me at 71 years old, right? Simon Kinberg? You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be rude, but like, that's what I see there. You know what I mean? That's what I see going down there. All right, somebody said I missed their chat here. Thoughts on Marvel removing characters from the Doomsday trailers, says JT Iski. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably true. I think the speculation right now is Doctor Doom has been removed specifically from the Fantastic Four one, which is kind of funny, actually, because, we're going to talk later on in the stream about a story Collider ran about how the view count for the Doomsday trailers went down throughout all 4 weeks, and especially that last one. I think you go from like 14 million views to 6 million views or something like that. And I think it's kind of ironic because had that trailer not removed Doom, I think that trailer pops higher than all of them. But we'll get into that a little bit more. But yeah, it's probably true. All right, let's see here. Looking forward to giving all at Warhammer next. Oh, Kevin Kennedy! Get out of here! I can't wait for Ahsoka the movie, Ahsoka 2, the Old Republic movies about Ahsoka ancestors. He's going to turn Star Wars into Ahsoka Wars. You know what? You're being, you're joking around, Connor. But I deadass had this thought where, like, you know how there's some crazy James Gunn fans out there? Ahsoka, what is happening right now? Did you hit the lotto, or is your child on the phone and you don't have proper safeguards on there? I really appreciate all these gifted memberships, but what the hell is going on? Are you okay? Is this okay? You all right over there? I'm just trying to make sure. I mean, is this Dave Filoni's burner and he's just trying to... It's time to celebrate, Josh? All right. Sheesh. Well, look, thank you for all that. I appreciate it. But I ain't gonna celebrate. I'm in a bitchin' mode. Okay? Listen, here's the point I was trying to make. Y'all know that there's James Gunn fanboys out there. Did you know that? There's like people that really like James Gunn stuff. I'm being honest. Like, I'm not even being facetious when I say that. Like, there's people that really, really like James Gunn's shit. Okay? And then there are people that don't really like James Gunn's shit, right? The point I'm making is James is doing this thing where he's like, well, I don't really give a fuck if you don't like my shit, because it's all my shit, dog. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, fucking Creature Commandos, like Peacemaker Season 2, like James Gunn Superman, and James Gunn Supergirl, and Man of Tomorrow, and like all these things, right? And people like me that don't like gun stuff are like, we're like losing our minds. I swear to God, if Filoni just did a James Gunn and he just went for it and he was like, yo, it is Ahsoka now. Like, look at me, I am the captain now. It's all Ahsoka all the time. Ahsoka this, Rebels that. Like, if it just became the Filoni show in the same way that Gunn is making it the Gunn show, I would love it. And I don't care how many of you would fucking hate it, because I'm selfish. I just want it for me. So you're joking. I deadass think he should do that. I think they should cancel the Rey trilogy and make the Ahsoka trilogy. I'm not even kidding. You know, I think that any person that pitches a project to Dave that doesn't include a CGI deepfaked Anakin Skywalker should be thrown out of the building. Okay? So anyway, thanks for the super chat. All right. John Solo says, Star Wars at this point has hit home runs, in my opinion. They can't play safe anymore. They need to stack up big wins to get back up. Yeah, I actually agree with that. I think that's probably true. I'm down with that. And a lot of you would hate it. Yeah, a lot of you would hate it. And I'd be like, finally! Right? By the way, I don't think that shit's going to happen. But I would like it. All right. Should we get into this, man? I got a lot of fucking yapping it. I feel like that's an adequate intro. I feel like that's an adequate start. I feel like we're ready to rock here. What do you think, Chad? Are we ready to rock? I want to rock right now. I want to rock right now. All right. That'll do. Let me just get another sip of coffee, and then we'll do this. It's time. All right, here we go. Well, it's finally real. It finally happened. Confirmed in the Hollywood trades with an exit interview that is an exit interview for the books. Kathleen Kennedy is officially retiring as president of Lucasfilm. This is right here on the Variety Post. Says Kathleen Kennedy will step down after 14 years at Lucasfilm and be replaced by 2 Disney executives, Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni and President General Manager Lin-Manuel Brandon will jointly lead the studio behind Star Wars and Indiana Jones. Filoni's promotion was widely expected, but Brennan's elevation comes as a surprise, signaling Disney's desire to pair creative leadership with a tighter financial oversight. That's kind of interesting. And again, this is a big interview. It's an exit interview. Kathleen Kennedy does all kinds of updating and scolding fans and all sorts of interesting things in her exit interview. And so I do want to get into all the details of this and explain what is happening. But 2 things I want to say right off the top here. Number 1, it is absolutely fair to point out that within the last year, there were reports that came out suggesting that Bob Iger and Disney were actually a little bit more responsible for some of the issues and some of the bad decision-making that happened at Lucasfilm over the last several years, at least, probably dating all the way back to going away from George's scripts, maybe firing Michael Arndt, a lot of stuff that we had sort of said, oh, Kathy, she's fucking this whole thing up. It's absolutely fair to point out that more recent reporting has suggested that, at the very least, Bob Iger played a big role as well. Okay, and so I must apply that asterisk. I must say that before we get into all of this other stuff here. Now, the next thing to point out is that Matt Bellany and Jeff Snyder were on top of this like they have been. Bellany was the first to break this, which I'm sure was a fly in the ointment for both Kathy and her friends, and that's really what it is, her friends over at Variety. They put it in as like the last line of the article. This was first broke in the Puck newsletter by Bellany or whatever, right? Begrudgingly so, I am sure. And the reason I think that is because within this article, it's actually explained that Kathleen Kennedy had been putting these plans into motion for 2+ years. So you know how we've been hearing for 2+ years that Kathleen Kennedy is going to be out of there, that Kathleen Kennedy was going to be stepping down? Well, Kathy just admitted in her exit interview that that shit was true, okay? So what that means, if so facto, is that when Bellany broke it last year, and man, it must have been around September or something like that, maybe a little bit earlier, maybe a little bit later, but he broke that she was actually this time for real stepping down. It was going to happen. She probably delayed it. It might have even been August when it broke. But anyway, she probably literally delayed it, which is what a lot of people speculated, including Bellany, when he responded to the piece that was put into Variety that was sort of a response to his piece, okay? I'm not trying to get lost in the weeds, but the thing is, you just got to give credit to Bellany, and you also have to give credit to the many different stories that have come out over the last couple of years as being at least some of the smoke that was coming off of this fire. This thing had been being worked on for some time, and I think she probably delayed this from happening and also controlled the narrative of this happening, because I think that her legacy is really, really important to her. And I think there's this idea that the criticism levied at her was unfair and potentially unfair and sexist because she is a female, and that there's something about that that made her the target of this criticism. She has a line in her exit interview even talking about that being a low point of her tenure at Lucasfilm, which we'll talk more about in a second here, right? But I'm just trying to say that I essentially think she's handled this 2-year period when she knew she was going to step away terribly. And so I think, at the top of this segment, I had said, look, let's be fair about the news stories. Let's give the context. Let's actually criticize Kathy for the proper things here. I think literally the last 2 years, and I think this exit interview, I think this retirement, I think this is actually something worth criticizing her for. And I would take it to like somewhat of an extreme toxic level, right? But for real, I would go as far as to say the one thing Kathy was actually able to accomplish, her one actual success within her tenure as president of Lucasfilm was to devastate the brand and the fandom so badly that I actually can't even celebrate her departure. And I am kind of trying to tell you that I think that was done intentionally. And on the one hand, it goes to show you that you really can't you really can't do and accomplish anything you put your mind to. And it is a pretty wild accomplishment that she has cooked the bird so bad that we can't even yub-nub in the streets. This is not a day of celebration. I do not feel good about this. I am not optimistic. So, congratulations, Kathy. You really did it. And I personally wish you had spent more of your energy over the last couple of years on actually crafting a beautiful future for Star Wars and maybe rehabilitating some of the bad choices you had done. But you chose not to do that. And where your focus goes, your energy flows. And my God, you really did do it, because I don't really feel too good about this shit, dog. I just got to be honest. And I think if you look around, too, I don't really see a lot of people celebrating this in general. I don't know if you guys feel that way, but I don't really feel that way. And in fact, many of the maybe usual suspects that you would have seen celebrate this move years ago, they're not even celebrating this news. I really don't see a lot of positivity. I really don't see a lot of celebrating. And I think a lot of people just share my viewpoint on this. And that is to say that this is like the worst retirement, passing of a baton, closure of a career ever. It's full of gaslighting, pointing the fingers. It's full of more of the same. It's full of, it's just all about her. You know what I mean? And I think that really is ultimately one of the biggest problems with her entire tenure as the president of this company, okay? Now, there's a lot of other things I want to say today about a lot of different elements of this story, but maybe the best way to go from here is to just address ultimately like this main kind of issue that I have with Kathy. The Twitter's not working? Did they shut me down? Okay. Here we go. Let me try to get to a couple of different things here that are ultimately at the core of why I think Kathy failed. So this right here is a statement within her exit interview where she says that women filmmakers and actors who worked on Star Wars projects get unfairly targeted by critics online. So I think the ultimate problem with Kathy and the culture that she created around Lucasfilm and within the fandom of Star Wars, because, I don't know that people really appreciate what I mean by this, but when you put stuff out on social media as a ambassador for the brand and as a leader, it sort of gives the go-ahead or the okay to other fans to act similarly. And, man, it's kind of ironic because I had heard that when Kathy first kind of got the job, there was stuff that she wanted to cut out because of wanting to protect Star Wars as a brand overall. Some of the stuff was like the South Park stuff. Some of it was the Family Guy stuff, Robot Chicken stuff. So I kind of heard like early on that she didn't want that stuff there. And she just felt as though that was disrespectful or not in line with the vision for Star Wars as a brand. And, it's kind of funny because you can actually draw somewhat of a parallel between that kind of thinking and her firing the Lord and Miller guys with like 2 weeks left of principal. Because she probably was looking at dailies or a movie or an assembly cut that was very similar to maybe some of the vibes of that Robot Chicken or Family Guy stuff, okay? I'm going somewhere with this, by the way. So she has this perception, and I think she cares about Star Wars, and she wants to, like, kind of protect it. But unfortunately, this topic specifically, I think, was very damaging to Star Wars and the brand and the culture and the fandom. Because, you know, you might think that the problem I have with the statement here is that the word unfair. But that's not actually the problem I have with this statement at all. So Star Wars as a fandom, and this is going to maybe seem revolutionary or shocking to some of you guys, but Star Wars as a fandom is actually toxic. And oh no, what, it's crazy. No, it is. And I think that it's worth understanding and accepting what that actually means and not trying to like hide from it. You know, if you were to go to a Comic-Con and you would ask fans randomly in the Comic-Con, and I think this is actually like kind of a fun thought experiment. Maybe we could do this someday. And you were to say, okay, guys, what fandom out of the big fandoms, so let's say, you know, Game of Thrones, Star Wars, DC, Marvel, you know, whatever other thing out there, anime, that, you know, video game, whatever, which fandom is the most toxic? I think most people would say Star Wars. And I think most people would say that because it's true. Star Wars, as a fandom, was so mean to George Lucas that it is a part of why he sold the brand. He's talked about it. You can't like actually deny that. He's literally talked about it. Okay. Star Wars is also a fandom that was really mean to, you know, Ahmed Best, whoever the young dude was that played, you know, Anakin or whatever. Star Wars fandom is entitled and passionate to the point of toxicity. Okay. That is true. And so she's not wrong to say that the criticism at these people is unfair. The issue becomes that it's impossible for it to be the case that George is run out of Star Wars by the same toxic fans that ran Kathy out, and yet the toxicity is about the gender. It's not about the gender. And to take it a step further, when you make it about gender, when you kind of signal that the unfair criticism of Star Wars that is par for the course must not happen to my female employees and directors, and when it does, in the same way that it does to the males that make this shit, it's somehow worse, you are actually inherently saying that there's something lesser or unable to cope within your female employees, directors, writers, and actors. So the issue is you really made it a fucking thing. And you made the thing the wrong thing. Okay? Instead, there should be an appreciation and an understanding of what Star Wars is, of how Star Wars fans are, and how they treat the people that make the very content. And yeah, it is a little toxic. But what are you going to do about that? That's the question. I think that's the defining question of what a leader does. Okay? What Kathy chose to focus on and what she chose to give meaning to, and therefore took actions all based on that whole line of thinking led Star Wars into this, I think, even worse toxic spot where the toxicity that was there and normal in a sense, or at least par for the course for this particular brand, was scapegoated into horrible things like sexism, like racism, like all of these other things. And the problem with that is, again, they are sort of that way, not like the isms, but they are toxic and passionate, and they're going to hold you to account, and they're going to probably complain and bitch and moan and all that, right? But when you take it to this level of like labeling and trying to associate that toxicity, that passion with these like horrible and bad things, it feels like an extreme level of gaslighting that in this day and age is just incredibly hard for people to deal with. Okay? And I really think, I mean, I've tried for years to try to explain this in a way that at least some of you will hear and understand and be able to process. And I don't make culture war content. I don't like try to sort of like grift off of that sort of stuff or like rah on one particular side or the other. But this is a real thing, and she really fumbled this. And this is on top of like actually doing things to try to make Star Wars into more of a female brand, which I know some people get like all like the degree to which you do that, the degree to which that is acceptable for a predominantly male brand, all of that sort of stuff is up in the air and nuanced, and maybe you have a particular take. Your mileage may vary. But the point is, it happened. It happened. The degree to which it happened is maybe up for debate, but it happened, and it happened alongside a cultural shift where, again, that very par for the course thing that was always going to happen with Star Wars was given an association that it didn't need, and you created even more like animosity within your own fandom. That is ultimately the thing. That's what happened. That's the biggest sin. I mean, maybe fucking up, not making movies for 6 years and all that's probably pretty bad too. But like that, I think is the greatest sin, the worst thing that Kathleen Kennedy did. And you gotta wonder, does Dave even realize this? Does Dave even understand the fuck I am saying? Because I've been saying it for a long time, and it just seems like there's very few people that are listening. There's very few people that understand that. And I think it's really fucking easy to put all that toxicity and anger and pain into the bucket of undesirables, into the bucket of racist phobes and wrong think, because it allows you to obfuscate the guilt, to obfuscate the responsibility. But if you don't fix that, if you don't figure that out, I think Star Wars is totally fucked. And I think Rey and the sort of pushing of Rey as the main character of Star Wars is in some ways, it's almost the antithesis of what I desire for the brand, right? And so really and truly, like, you know, with all the nuance and all the accolades that you could lay at the feet of Kathy, and again, the responsibility that Iger had in the fall-offs of Star Wars, there's still this huge elephant in the room. There's still this big fucking thing that happened. And she literally said it again in her exit interview. This is obviously the sort of core belief structure that guided many decisions that she made under her tenure. And therefore, it's fucked up. Okay? So, man, I don't really know how to feel about this. Technically, yes, there is now more chance than ever that things change. But I can't help but think that so much damage was done, so many things have gone wrong, and we've gotten to the point that there are no reasonable adults over there that can actually digest and sort of synthesize what I just said and understand that, like, that's really what's going on. And that should be something that we consider as a company and we should do moving forward, right? So therefore, personally, for me, I just don't think it's going to get better. With all of that said, and we've got a lot more to get into, I want to know what you guys think about that. What do you think about this at sort of a base level here? Any particular side of this? You know, the rumors, the fact that rumors got confirmed, the fact that it finally happened, the fact that I personally think this was a terrible 2 years where she did even more damage and actually kind of like clamped them down in a direction that I think will destroy them. Yeah. What do you guys think about this? What do you think about this? I don't want to hear her name ever again. Oh shit. Well, a couple more times today at least. Looking at my notes. I wouldn't mind Rey, but the old should have been appreciated and not decimated to bring her in. Yeah, and like, look, so here's another side of this. Not to get like even more toxic and even more horrible about this, but this idea that like Rey was never the problem, this idea that it could work, this idea that like within all of that, I think for me is like the reason I reject all of that is that I'm not where I was 4 to 5 years ago. Okay. 4 to 5 years ago, I wasn't even complaining that much about all of this sort of shit, and I was being optimistic about how it could all work out. and it was death by 1,000 cuts. It just kind of kept happening and building, and I was like, wow, this shit's real. Oh my God, this is terrible. Holy shit, Reva. Okay? So I'm not at a place where we can just do Rey and do her better, and I'm going to be okay with that. And I'm just trying to be honest, because I think that a lot of fans are at that place. It's similar to how I feel about Marvel, right? Some of you guys were like, why'd you turn Marvel Zombies off? Because it's just the girls again in episode 1. And it's like you might not like that. You might actually think I'm bad, or there's like something wrong with me, or you're like, bro, like what? You saw Miss Marvel and checked out. You didn't even get to the cool shit. You can think whatever you want. I'm just trying to tell you how it is, and I don't think I'm alone, dude. I think there's a lot of people that are actually so far past the point of trying to give all of this a fair shot that, yeah, I mean, like, frankly, when we did the stream of like No Girls Allowed, right? I mean, I was joking, I was being facetious, and obviously it's not like literally No Girls Allowed, but like a little bit it kind of is. Like I'm at a point where like the only acceptable response to make this make sense is to like kind of literally draw the line and be like, oh no, I literally like don't want that shit. I don't want to see it. And take it or leave it. And I personally think, like, I gotta say, I think Star Wars, and I think a lot of people in Hollywood would basically just kind of be like, oh really? Well then fuck you. To me, like to everything I just said, I truly think a lot of folks, and maybe even Dave himself, would hear that, would kind of digest that and be like, okay, well, really, fuck you. I just, like, that's fine, but let's see how that works out for you. I just don't think that's the move. Not when you're actually thinking about what the brand is, how it appeals to people, where it once was, all of these different things. I don't think what I'm saying is too unreasonable. I might be at a place that seems unreasonable, but it's not unreasonable to point out the reality of where folks are at. If you're in commercial art, then you are making art for an audience that exists. So you should understand what that audience wants from what you are providing, right? Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that's still your subjective opinion because there's a demographic for all of these kind of content. Yeah, no, and that's absolutely fair. But what I'm suggesting to you is beyond my subjective opinion. I think objectively that fan base is filled with enough people that hold that subjective opinion that you will see in the data over time that is a bad fucking move. And it really comes down to this concept of 80-20. Okay? It comes down to this concept of 80-20. So like if you have an Italian restaurant, 20% of your menu, which is probably like your pastas, would probably make up 80% of your profit, revenue, whatever. Okay? And that's just how it is. Like most people come to an Italian restaurant, they're going to get pasta. Now, there's a few people that want to try the new steak filet bullshit thing or the new, fusion whatever. But by and large, you are there to sell spaghetti meatball. Okay? And if you ever decided to put way more of your energy, time, and effort into the 80% of your menu that doesn't make up your profit, then you are a stupid Italian restaurant owner. Does this make sense? Right? Because that's what it is. And I feel, I think there's a certain amount of that that's my subjective opinion. But, like, dude, I also, like, I do this for a living. I've been watching this go down for 9 years. I've had a front row seat to watch how these brands have declined. The decline is not subjective. The decline is actual. You can see it. So yeah, I think they've really, really boned it, man. I think they've really boned it. Rossi says, just want to say, I've always fully supported Puck News and Matthew Bellany. This would happen to me. LOL. Sometimes you got to swing and miss. Well, yeah, I mean, I get it, Rossi. I just don't understand why you chose like one of the best reporters in the game to like say this is not true or whatever, right? And maybe you just showed up or whatever. But within her exit interview, it actually talks about how this has been going on for 2 years. They've been planning this for 2+ years. Yeah. All right, let's end that segment there and let's get into some of this other stuff because we do have to talk about the future of Star Wars, and we have to talk about how Kathleen Kennedy gave us what the future of Star Wars is and how fucking ridiculous that is. considering that it was supposed to be an exit interview. Absolutely amazing segment on KK, Chef's Kiss. Also, 33 months of nerd venging. Let's go. Appreciate you. Thank you. Much love. All right, let me find this. Let me get this pulled up. Let me get this pulled up. Oh, man, I forgot to talk about this, too. That's okay. We'll have time to talk about that. We'll talk about that. Okay, here we go. Jesus Christ. Oh, God, why? Why? Missed your milestone? Ethical pride? Let me see here. She gone. 3/4 of the year as a nerd venger. Love this community. Great streams to start the year, man. Thanks, dude. I'm glad you're having fun. I'm glad you're having fun. I'm trying to have fun, too. You know what I mean? Maybe we could laugh a little so that we don't cry. Maybe we could laugh a little so that we don't cry. So naturally, with Kathleen Kennedy officially retiring as the president of Lucasfilm, the next question is, what is the future of Star Wars now? What's going to happen? What does it look like now? And normally that would be a big mystery as new leadership would come in and make decisions. But oh no, not this time. This time, Kathleen Kennedy has laid out for us exactly what will be happening in the future and the state of all the rest of the Star Wars movies, which is fucking ridiculous and not a good sign. But anyway, let's look at these updates and let's speculate about this. So, she gives update on the future of Star Wars films. James Mangold's film is on hold, but has an incredible script. So that's kind of interesting. We'll come back to this whole idea of like on hold. Like, I don't know what that means. Is it a James thing? Is it a her thing? Is it a Dave thing? Not really sure. Donald Glover's turned in a script for a Lando movie. Dude, no fucking thank you. No fucking thank you. I do not want a Lando movie. I certainly don't want a Donald Glover Lando movie. I'm sorry, but they turned him into the robot fucking puss boy. I don't want that shit. I mean, chat, what? Am I crazy? Am I crazy? Or is he banging robots? No. Okay, this next one. This a big. Oh man. Oh man. Simon Kinberg is actively working on a trilogy of films that Dave and Lin Wen are very on board for. No! Oh my God. Oh my fucking God. Terrible. Terrible. So bad. Oh my God, it's cooked. It's fucking cooked. Listen. Out of all the things that are going on for Star Wars, out of all the possibilities of things they could pursue, stories they could tell, eras they could get into, the Simon Kinberg trilogy is the worst thing possible. It is the worst thing possible. Simon Kinberg sucks ass. Okay, that's just first off. Just number one. Dude sucks ass. Number two, no hype. Are you kidding me? There's no hype for this name. Simon Kinberg? The guy that did Dark Phoenix? Wrote and directed it? No. No, thank you. Terrible. On top of that, the other rumors, and this was kind of like confirmed by Jeff Snyder last night, the other part of the rumors is that this is going to be a sequel trilogy thing, and Rey is going to be a big fucking part of it, okay? Last night, Jeff Snyder was quite keen to let everybody know that you will see Daisy Ridley's Rey again. And guess what? That's against my fucking will. I don't ever want to see that character again. Rey fucking Skywalker? We're going to do a trilogy? Oh my God. You know what it seems like to me? You know what it seems like to me, chat? It seems like Kathy couldn't give a shit about Mando and Grogu, okay? She's super focused on the Sean Levy Star Wars movie. You know why? Because that is a gateway to the Rey trilogy, okay? As far as I understand, as far as we understand, Rey's going to pop up at the end of that movie, and then that'll be the setup going into the trilogy where Rey's going to be somewhat of an Obi-Wan figure for the whole fucking trilogy. Oh my God. That is terrible. Now, I really hope that this isn't true and that Dave's not really on board with it. But I gotta tell you, when you look at Dave's comments, oh my God, did you see Dave's comments? Don't worry, I'll pull them up for you. if you look at what Dave said, dude, this is what he said here. From Rey to Grogu, Kathy has overseen the greatest expansion in Star Wars storytelling on screen that we have ever seen. From Rey to Grogu, Kathy has overseen the greatest expansion in Star Wars storytelling on screen that we have ever seen. I'm incredibly grateful to Kathy, George, Bob Iger, and Alan Bergman for their trust and the opportunity to lead Lucasfilm in this new role. Doing a job I truly love. May the Force be with you. Okay, so it does look like Dave is on board with Rey. And more Rey, and Rey trilogy, and Rey Skywalker, and Rey all up in your face. But don't worry, because also Taika Waititi has turned in a script for a film she calls hilarious and great. Dude, is this bitch in the walls? Is she reading my diary? She's saying all the worst shit. It's like a reverse engine. It's like my worst dreams. The nightmares, I thought they were just nightmares. They're actually coming true. Taika Waititi turned in a script for a film she calls hilarious and great. Oh my God, dude. Confirms Hunt for Ben Solo script is also on the back burner. The thing that this thing doesn't talk about is that Dave's movie is also on the back burner. Apparently Dave Filoni's, what was something like an Heir to the Empire, combination film, that's also on the back burner. And that's maybe the most devastating blow, man. That's maybe the most devastating shit. Is that, that was probably like one of the most exciting projects. Like, the James Mangold thing is kind of interesting. I like James as a filmmaker, and that era is really interesting. But he said some weird shit about like not caring about lore, and that's why he wanted to do that movie. And I'm not about that life, And I do still fan out for Dave and what he has done via Clone Wars Rebels and some of his live action stuff. I was really looking forward to that Dave Filoni movie, man. So, goddamn, that is on the back burner as well. Probably because of just all of what he's going to have to do now as co-president of all of this stuff. Okay, now I gotta tell you, I think this is insane, dude. I think this is insane. I think it's insane for her to even be giving updates about any of this shit as she is exiting. I don't like it. It's crazy. Dave should be the one to do this, and he should give us the official stuff, which, by the way, he probably will at some juncture, at some event or whatever. And I guess if that so happens, and if it's a little bit better than this goobly glop here, we could maybe feel a little bit better about it. But look, man, the story for the past couple of years, I've been reporting, I mean, maybe you guys know this. I've been kind of saying the same shit about this for years, and it's that what appears to be happening is Kathleen Kennedy was locking Lucasfilm in a direction, was making sure that all the stuff that she really cared about was going on, and I think mostly that was there to do two things: to not go in a new direction and continue what had gone before, and the reason she wanted to do that is for the second reason, and that's to protect her legacy. If Dave came out and said something like, I'm really excited for this. I have some fresh ideas. We have a new trilogy. It's going to be totally different, disconnected from every character. We're going 1,000 years in the future or something like that. It would, in some ways, co-sign the reality that the sequels were not good, that this was a mishandling of Star Wars, and it would kind of look bad for Kathy, right? But that's like what you do. Like, if you have a bad season or you have a coach, and I think the Tomlin thing is interesting. Like, I watched a little bit of Jeff and John last night. I had to turn it off. Disgusted me the way Snyder shills for Kathy. And I think, obviously, he's got, like, sources within Kathy's camp. But one of the things he said that I thought was actually on point was the comparison to Mike Tomlin. Okay? Mike Tomlin is... he stepped down as the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? And I think there's a lot of stats you could throw out there and a lot of things you could say about how the players feel about playing for Mike Tomlin, the impact he made on the city. In a lot of ways, I mean, he's just undeniable successes, and he's done really, really good. Some people say that and then ignore the fact that the last time we had a playoff win was when Captain America Civil War was coming out. Okay? So two things can be true at once. It's like, You can be good in some ways, and then it can also be time for change and time to go. Now, the interesting thing about the Steelers is they're probably not bringing anybody back, right? They're probably not bringing anybody back. Yeah, I think it's just you, James. All the coaches were said their contracts will expire in February, and they're all free to go seek other employment, okay? And within this is like, okay, so we're truly not doing the Tomlin thing anymore. So there's new, and there's going to be complete new. And with that comes the opportunity that things will be very different, and we can get excited about what that new thing will look like. And there's an energy that comes from new, right? I do not feel like that is what is happening with Star Wars. I feel like the reports from the past couple of years are accurate, and Kathy is controlling how Star Wars will function even past her retirement. That would be like Tomlin saying, you're going to run all the same schemes, you're going to have the same defense, the coordinator's going to stay, everybody's just going to do what I did, but I'm leaving. Well, guess what? That doesn't actually solve the problem. And that doesn't create the newness that would be needed to, I think, sort of invigorate the fandom of said franchise or said sports team or whatever. And so I just got to say, I think it's ridiculous that she's updating us at all about what these movies are. I think it's extra ridiculous that she's emphasizing that Dave and Linwin are on board for Kinberg's trilogy. You're sort of painting him, I mean, you're literally putting him in a box now where if he doesn't go with that, it's going to look, bad or whatever. But also maybe this was the thing that happened over the past couple of years, and she's really just kind of confirmed that that's the way that it's going to go. So I'm saying all this to say, man, I don't feel good about any of this. Like, does any of this have sauce? Just be real with me. Look at these projects. Look at what's coming. Does any of this have sauce? Does any of this get you excited? Does any of this feel like we're doing new? Like it's a new day at Lucasfilm. Yeah, maybe mangled a little bit, right? But, I mean, to be honest with you, bro, this ain't it. Like, as simple as I can say it, this ain't it. This is terrible, man. This is terrible. I damn sure don't want that Lando movie. I certainly don't want the Simon Kinberg stuff. Taika Waititi, get the fuck out of here. She calls it hilarious. No thanks. No thanks. So, I don't know, man. This just feels like bad fucking news, dog. This just feels like bad news. What is this? How am I supposed to be optimistic about this? How am I supposed to be excited about this? You know what I'm saying? Oh, my God, brother. All right, let me look at some of these super chats here. I would love to know what you guys think about this, and then we'll move on. Only a couple more segments of bitching and moaning. Only a couple more segments of bitching and moaning. And then we'll talk about Marvel and complain about that a little bit, too. Okay, Space Rick Serial says, Dave can either tell the truth or keep KK's mission to kill Star Wars. It's simple. How is her evil power so great? She knows everyone hates her work. I think she has gaslit herself and those around her, maybe even Dave, to take what is, even if it's unfair, just normal Star Wars fan toxicity, and she has put it into buckets that make it so that you don't even have to consider that. You don't even have to consider that criticism might be right, because it came from bad people that have bad opinions, and they're just bad. I mean, where have you seen this kind of philosophy before? You know what I mean? Not going to work. I'm afraid it won't work. Wraith says Star Wars can't fully regain its fan base until the sequel trilogy either has parts retconned away or the entire trilogy is made non-canon. I'm not even being as extreme as you, but I think that people like you that feel the way you feel will also stand shoulder to shoulder with me in a rejection of a Simon Kinberg Rey trilogy. That's what that's the point. And not to put a spotlight on you, Wraith, but hey, everybody, look at motherfucker Wraith. Look at this motherfucker. Look at what this motherfucker's saying. This is one of those retcon the sequel motherfuckers. You think this dude's gonna show up for the Rey movie? You think this dude's gonna get excited about the Rey movie? Come on. Like, what are we doing here? Kobe John Son says, Josh, what is the one critical thing you would need to see Star Wars get back in, and what would you need to make or break Doomsday for you? Well, first of all, I appreciate the 10. That's a bugger of a question. Let me try to break it down. The first part is, what would you need to see in Star Wars? Critical thing? So, look. I think, look, you're not going to like this answer. Actually, I don't know. Maybe you will like this answer. Under normal circumstances, and maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I would have told you all they need to do is just do proper Star Wars, get back to it, and enough people out there still care about what actual Star Wars is that they will sort of slowly come back and start to embrace Star Wars. But, and this is really where I'm at with it, the damage has been so bad, so much has gone wrong, and people have been so turned off that alone will not solve the problem. Therein lies the biggest issue with Dave. I think Dave thinks if he just gets back to George Star Wars, everything will be fine. And I'm trying to scream from the rooftops, no, Dave, no! Like, I'm not saying that you can't do, like, female characters. I'm not saying you can't make Star Wars, like, for everybody or whatever, care about representation, all of these sort of things. But what I am saying to you is, if you continue making content as if nothing bad happened and everyone that doesn't like it just sucks ass, you're fucked. Do you understand how those things are different? If they don't understand that, they're cooked, in my opinion. And then what would make or break Doomsday for you? It's all Doctor Doom. If Doctor Doom is dope as fuck, he has the aura, he has all the vibes of Doom, he's awesome, then we're good. Literally, the whole story could be goobly glob and make zero fucking sense. And as long as Doom is Doom, we're going to be okay. Because Doctor Doom is that cool of a fucking character. So yeah, thanks for the 10, man. Twist Off says, do you think Dave is being nice now till she's totally gone, then might go off on the state of the fandom and actually make change? No, I do not believe that at all. I would love for that to be the case. I don't believe that at all. Overbound says, Meg says Dave's movie is not backburnered. That was just an opinion in the article, according to her. Well, I'd love for that to be the case. Meg has good sources. By the way, I didn't reach out to any sources. I didn't look at what any sources sent me. I just got mad, grumpy, and I wanted to get out here and yap today. So I don't even know. I haven't touched base with anybody about that. I just am going off of the article. It would be great if that was to still come out. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be pumped about that. All right, let's see here. Did I miss any other ones? Kinberg's director, we're screwed. Dark Phoenix was absolute disaster. Ray is cooked. Yes. Imagine The Rock greenlit 4 films after Gunn is in. Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. $20 holla from Space Trick Serial, The Night Primarch. That's very generous, brother. Says, the silver lining for the Simon Kinberg trilogy is that his time, continuity skills, we won't know what era it really is in, but we got Warhammer coming. So we got Doom coming. Light shall shine upon us nerds again. God save Star Wars. Yeah, look, I actually haven't brought Warhammer up at all today. I was trying not to because, you know, I think you guys kind of get your fill sometimes, and I'm actually trying to make you all Warhammer fans, so I can't turn you completely off, you know? We got to, like, kind of, you know, go easy with it or whatnot. But, yeah, Warhammer's obviously the future. Star Wars is so cooked as a brand that basically it just exists as an on-ramp to Warhammer now. And what I mean is, like, all that's left for Star Wars fans is to remember when it was good, to appreciate what it once was, and then to understand that the only way to get close to those feelings again and that just joy is to get into Warhammer. That is literally the function of Star Wars. Like, if Star Wars was that salt-shaking passing robot on Rick and Morty, and it'd be like, what is my purpose? Your purpose is to guide more people to the Warhammer fandom. That is all the purpose that Star Wars has left. Thank you for the super chat. Corey says, at this point, I would watch a full AI Old Republic or Darth Vader Tales, His Apprentice stuff over any of this BS. This is a horrible lineup. Yeah, this is not a good lineup. This is not a good lineup. And it's funny you bring up the AI thing, man. Apparently, that's like a whole thing. And a lot of people are making good Star Wars AI films or whatnot. And some people are mad about it or whatever. But I think it's just kind of interesting that the things people like about Star Wars are so easy to distill down that even AI slop is more satisfying in that regard than what Disney has done. And that's I think, a super big indictment on Disney. You know what I mean? Because, like, dude, it really is a lot of AI slop. Like, these people are not actually storytellers. But maybe it's the case that Star Wars is, like, so simple that it could be distilled down to just a couple cool things. And the AI can figure that out, but Lucasfilm can't? It's pretty wild. Just Ayach says, so KK can now go work as a producer on the Warhammer show, and Daisy really can play a female Custodes? Goddamn! Goddamn, you're real close to triggering me on that last break a rage right there. Woo! Woo! Okay. All right. Woo! That's a good one there. Goddamn. Dave does that. Says, Dave and John will write the Star Wars ship before Warhammer releases any tangible show or movie. I mean, I'd take that bet. $500? I would take that bet. I probably shouldn't, though. I probably shouldn't. Nah, man, I really don't believe so. I mean, look, I'd love to be wrong. Man, oh, wouldn't that be so cool? But first of all, John, I don't want nothing to do with this shit. So I don't think so, bud. And Dave, man, I like Dave a lot. I got a lot of respect for Dave, you know? And I think ultimately he is the guy that gives us the best shot. And if you're optimistic about that, if you want to sort of cling to that copium and hope, God bless you, because there ain't nothing else for me. I'm just not optimistic, and I think I've explained why. Dugaditch says, was the stuff about Iger being behind KK's shitty decisions real? Yeah, absolutely. Bob Iger was a big part of why Disney Star Wars made poor decisions. A lot of different things, like going away from George's stuff in the parks, in the movies, in the comics, all that is pretty much Bob Iger. You know, we know about the Ben Solo movie. We know that there were probably other films. I know some other stuff that I'm not at liberty to exactly talk about, but around this time when the Ben Solo stuff sort of blew up, I spoke to a lot of interesting people that shared similar stories that said Disney and Bob Iger were the ones that were forcing change and all that sort of stuff. So, yes, we can, with all of this, put a little asterisk here and say, yeah, Bob Iger also screwed the pooch. But what I hope I've been able to do is be really explicit about where I think Kathy went wrong and what her greatest failure was. And it does have to do with the Force's female thing. And I tried to deliver that segment with nuance, and I tried to, like, just put it out there in the way that I think about it, why I think it's an issue. So, yeah, I think that there's still plenty of reasons to blame Kathy. Kathy fucked a lot of shit up, for sure. But, yeah, asterisks. Wraith says Disney needs to make George Lucas' planned sequel trilogy as either an animated trilogy of TV films or as a new trilogy of live-action films. I mean, you know, you jest a little bit there, or maybe you're just being a fan. But I actually think that would be cool, man. I think that would be super bold. Like, if Dave got George to come back in some way, I think that would be great. I just truly think that time has passed. Like, I truly think that time has passed. I don't think he's pulling a Phillip Rivers. I don't think he's pulling an Aaron Rodgers. I think George is maybe the happiest he's ever been, frankly. And also, what's in it for him, okay? And this is another thing. I hate to do this to you, but really, Star Wars fans, you kind of fucked this up. Because what's in it for him? Right now, as it stands, the failure of Kathy has only made him look better. In some ways, the fandom actually is more supportive of George than ever. Well, I'll tell you what. He comes back, the odds of that changing, pretty high. What's in it for him? He comes back, gives it his best shot, tries to fix it, and then the Star Wars fans are like, microbes and fucking mystical force DNA? Fuck you, George! Midichlorians were horse shit! Bring Kathy back! You know what I mean? Like, that's what's in it for George, really. Nah, dog, he ain't coming back. He ain't coming back. So, thanks for the 5. All right, Riley says, I believe you about Iger and KK, but they changed Disneyland, and the next day KK retired, so that makes it a bit interesting, does it not? Yeah, it does. It does. It certainly does. But I mean, I just got to go with the good reporting. I got to go with really good sources that I talk to. Trust me, like I just could be wrong. This is what I believe, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. There's more. There's more. We must yap more. I am not done yapping about this shit. Okay, first page of notes down. The obvious next question is, will Dave Filoni save Star Wars? Okay? We've kind of talked about how probably not, and we've kind of danced around that. But here's the other thing. I think there's like a secondary question to this, and that is Dave Filoni fated to have the same thing happen to him that happened to George and that happened to Kathleen Kennedy? And what I mean is, like, will Dave be run out of town by the fans? And I gotta tell you, like, it's a little fucked up. I feel like we're in the world between worlds, and we're looking into a portal into the future. And I think he is destined to be run out, just like George and just like Kathy. Holy shit, that kind of sucks. But that's what I think is going on. And I think one of the reasons this is going to happen is that we're not able to accept why the Star Wars fandom is toxic, and we're not able to basically like make a realization, understand what it is, and then take proper action. During all throughout the stream today, we've talked about sports comparisons. The Tomlin Kathleen Kennedy thing is I think a pretty good comparison. Here's another one: Philly sports teams and Star Wars fans. Okay, now I lived in Philly for 7 years. Philly is known as the city of brotherly love. And what that means is it's full of assholes. And Philly fans are ridiculous. Like, they legitimately are. I watched the dude eat horse shit. I watched it. I seen it after the Super Bowl when they won. Okay? And that was them excited. You can't imagine what they're capable of when they're frustrated with the team, when they're mad or they're upset. I mean, they throw shit at their own team. Okay? And so you got to ask yourself, well, what does that mean? What do you do? Like, how does the owner, how does the coach, how does the general manager, how do you deal with this? Well, like, you should probably just prepare your players for the reality, right? I actually don't think it would be useful if, like, anybody in any of these organizations, I'm talking about, like, the Phillies, the Eagles, the Flyers, I don't think it would be useful or conducive to their operation to be like, these fans are just toxic. And they're horrible. Maybe you're right. But that doesn't do anything for you. That's not what an adult does in the room. Like, for instance, my son, if he's acting a fool because he's a toddler, it doesn't help anything for me to just, like, yell at him, "You're a toddler, you don't know anything." You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't help the situation at all. I just must accept that he is a toddler, and I must, like, put guide rails in and be the adult in the room. Okay? And ultimately, what is the toxicity of Star Wars fans? Like what is that? Like, why is that a thing? Like, because it's certainly a thing, and it's been a thing. Well, I mean, I think part of it is that people are really, really passionate about Star Wars, and they have, like, somewhat of an ownership of it, right? And that's probably true for most things that people get into and that become fans. And I think fans have the right, because it is that thing, that sacred thing to them, I think they have the right to voice their criticisms, to be upset about a decision a story makes or whatever. I think you would find this in every fandom. We were just talking the other day about, on Discord, a little bit about, Henry Cavill and Games Workshop, the Warhammer stuff that's coming out, live action Warhammer. And there's this great video that somebody shared on a Discord, I think it was Casper, where Cavill was interviewed. And the question that he was it was like such a baity question. And this guy was like, how do you deal with all of this stuff in a day and age where fans are so fans are so vocal and honestly kind of toxic? And Cavill kind of like reframes the question where he's like, I understand what you're saying, but these fans are passionate and they have the right, because they have ownership of this thing, they have the right to criticize, they have the right to hold you to a standard, especially if you mess that up. If you don't do the thing that feels like the thing that they're passionate about, I mean, who else is going to tell you that you're off base there? It's the fans. That's their job. That's what they're there to do. And they do have ownership of it, right? And, man, I feel like this Star Wars thing is... Like, I guess what I'm saying is I wish we had a president coming in that kind of was able to articulate that a little bit better. Not just because I think it's actually the state of where most fandoms are at, but because Star Wars specifically has that problem. And it would just be so great to have like an adult in the room that would say something to the effect of, you know, the Star Wars fandom is full of passion, and even the fans that have been in this thing since the beginning have even seen moments where maybe they cross a line, or maybe we've had that passion spill over into areas that actually, you know, causes some conflict, and maybe even make some of the people that work at Star Wars or make the content or act in these movies feel uncomfortable and scared. And I think that's just something we kind of have to own as a fandom. And the thing I'm trying to explain to people when they come in is that that is just a sort of standard that exists here that does not exist elsewhere. That Star Wars means so much more than just lightsaber spaceships and these things. There's something about Star Wars, and maybe it's what George first created and how that connects to things that are deep inside the human spirit in a mythological sense. You know, George famously has talked a lot about Joseph Campbell and the hero's journey, but he really talked about how this was a new mythology for young people. And he was really trying to teach people lessons of how to approach a complicated world through a less complicated moral lens, the light side and the dark, right? And there's something about that and the adventures and the characters and maybe even the music and the tone, how it all came together, that resonated with so many millions of people around the world so powerfully that they now are entitled in a way, and they hold this in a sacred sense in a way that maybe other IPs or franchises do not have. And so therefore, we're not going to run away from the passion and even the toxicity of our fans. We are going to try to deliver for our fans. And the people that come and the people that are going to be working on this stuff into the future are going to be held to that standard and understand what that pressure is, right? And if you're here, if you're working at Lucasfilm, if you're making Star Wars, then you have been selected because you are incredible and you are wise enough to understand that responsibility and shoulder it with grace. And I just don't think that'll ever happen. And I certainly don't think it'll happen under Dave Filoni, unfortunately. The funny thing is, I think Dave gets it. He at least gets half of it. The last time I can think of that the Star Wars fandom itself was most unified, I would have to say is Mandalorian Season 2, and particularly the ending of Mandalorian Season 2 with Luke Skywalker. Chat, real quick, do you agree? Do you disagree? I think the last time that the fandom was truly unified, or maybe you could say like the most unified that it had been, was around Mandalorian Season 2. And the reason that's important is because it's fucking possible, dog. Like, I think that sometimes we look at Star Wars, we look at internet fandom, we look at everything that's going on, and we say, you'd never be able to satisfy everybody. You'd never even be able to satisfy the majority, and you certainly would never be able to navigate the new space of toxic fandoms and this, that, second, and the third properly. But there was a moment, man. There was a moment. There was a moment where it happened. And I think it was just so cool and handled with such care. Like, I truly give a lot of credit to Dave and John for spending so much of their own personal time and energy to create not just the thing, when that's Luke, but to create it in a way that felt so respectful, so good. And they also kept it a secret somehow. To this day, it kind of doesn't even make sense how they did that, right? But they did it. And that's certainly part of the battle. And maybe there would have been a way to carry that momentum into the next season or the next thing or whatever and continue to surprise fans and excite fans and everything. But that just didn't happen. Like, we didn't get more of that. In fact, we got the opposite. We got the Book of Boba Fett, which was this huge goobly glob step down thing, which felt so weird. And Mando and Grogu are just like randomly inserted in it. There's a Luke episode that's, it's just like so weird. And on top of that, you just continued to get what I consider to be sort of the trickle-down effect of Kathy's terrible culture and of labeling fans as sexist, racist, and all these horrible things. It's really led us to that place. This is where it's at. This is how divided the fandom is. This is why everybody's so upset. And therefore, I just don't know that I feel like Dave is actually going to turn this thing around. I suppose because he is the guy that helped make that happen with Mando Season 2, there is a chance that he's able to create moments like that in the content going forward and stack up enough wins and fun things to get people to re-engage and to be excited again. But even that might not be enough considering the damage that has been done. I just really feel, and I've said it many different times in many different ways today, I just continue to feel that without some level of acknowledgement, not even said, maybe like in between the lines, unspoken, you know, you got to signal it. You don't necessarily have to say it. Without some form of signaling that we're going to make things better and we're not going to like fight against our own fans, I just kind of think it's cooked, man. So will Dave Filoni save Star Wars? I don't think so. And his statement too about Rey to Grogu is like a fascinating statement. If what we predict is what's going to happen, and that would be them just continuing on with what has been going on, then they will just kind of meander. They will remain sort of wayward. And I think Star Wars will kind of become what Star Trek used to be, because I think Star Trek has actually fallen off even harder. But I think Star Wars is on its way to Star Trek level of relevance. And then legitimately from there, it could get even worse, where it becomes Star Trek now. You know, one of the most scary thoughts I had as I was thinking about all of this morning was that this might be the last time Star Wars is even this relevant. Ironically, as Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down, might be the last sort of gust of relevance that this brand even has. I'm starting to see it go in a direction where, like, if Mando Grogu bombs, if all the rest of the shows get low viewership, if Levy's movie underperforms, then really and truly, who gives a shit anymore? True apathy is knocking on the door for this brand. And I just don't think that Cowboy Dave is even aware of that. If he is aware of it, he's not signaling that he's aware of it. But that's where it's at for me. That's where it's at for me. I think it is that bad. I think this shit is cooked. I don't have a lot of hope. I don't have a lot of hope, chat. I really don't. So what do you think? Do you disagree? Do you agree? I see some people disagreeing. That's pretty pessimistic. Yeah, I guess it is. What does he need? Why does he need to signal that? Well, without signaling it, I can't even say it's possible, right? So I think like one of the things that's going on with Marvel, right? That's a good question. But one of the things that's going on with Marvel is like there's a lot of signaling, and then the signaling gets picked up by content creators or other channels, and people discuss it and talk about it. It creates a conversation, and really it creates a narrative where a whole bunch of folks that are looking for a reason to maybe re-engage with Marvel have a possible reason. But right now, like, I just don't think anybody's really saying that, and I don't think there's a lot of optimism that even this move means change. So, like, how could we report that change was coming? You know what I mean? Darth Bob says, I seriously feel nothing from this announcement. All I need is 1 to 6 for my love of Star Wars to continue. Yeah. I'm probably in the same boat with you, to be honest with you. Prez says, help us, Obi-Wan Filoni. You're my only hope. Oh, God. Star Wars Sith says, Warhammer is actually better than Star Wars. I can't believe I'm saying it. What Warhammer book should I start with? Well, that's a good question, Star Wars Sith. Really appreciate it. By the way, we'd call you maybe like a Demon Primarch or a Chaos Space Marine or something. You got to find the equivalent. You got to change your name, obviously. And because who gives a shit about the Sith, dog? Like, get the fuck out of here. So we'll figure out the Warhammer equivalent. I'll set you up with some good books. Yeah, I'll teach you how to paint your minis. So it's all good. Ibsy says Star Wars ain't dead. Warhammer is, though. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a knee slapper right there. Good one. Star Wars Sith says with a $2 holla chat, that was actually true. Warhammer is incredible. Star Wars is dead. Confirmed. Damn, dog. Doubling down. Star Wars Sith. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see here. Hey, Josh, can you please read my super chat from before the segment? Your streams are some of the best parts of my week. Much love, big dog. Hey, I appreciate you, man. Let me see here. The official Milos. All right, let me see if I can find your chat here, my brother. See if I can find your chat here, my brother. We are blasting. She gone. Thanks, man. Okay, he says, since Iger is still CEO, is this all null and void? I think Iger is actually stepping down relatively soon as well. But, yeah, it's probably all null and void, yeah. Is it Star Wars versus Warhammer now? Well, look, I think a little bit in this community is. And part of the reason is that, like, I was a big Star Wars fan. I used to do this show called Nerd Theory. I've done a lot of Star Wars content over the years. Been to Star Wars celebrations and all that, right? And basically over the last several years, I've been getting into Warhammer. I continue to talk about how Warhammer is so much better than Star Wars, and the heartache that was left in me from Star Wars. The only thing that filled that void was the love and the care that the grim darkness of the 41st millennia has offered me. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, in this community, it's a little bit of a conflict. Rossi says, Star Wars Sith. I love it. I'm getting into Warhammer 2. What army are you getting? Well, you guys shouldn't say that in your super chats, get that in the DMs or whatever, but it's good. Maybe you guys can actually play each other in Warhammer. It's a hell of a time. What if Warhammer and Star Wars did something together? No, thank you. Only thing Star Wars has left is the lightsaber. Yeah, lightsaber's pretty cool. You know what? I even had a thing this morning where I wanted to rip on the lightsaber. Like, I actually wrote a couple jokes. I was like, man, fuck a lightsaber. What is it, a goddamn stupid flashlight? Bullshit, I civilized war. This bullshit, man. But even I couldn't do it. Even I was like, fuck, the lightsaber's still cool, man. That sound. The sound when they hit each other. I like it when they swing that thing and they cross streams. Star Wars, why? Okay, I missed some more supers. Hang on now. Hang on. I'm trying to find the other ones here. Who else did I miss? Griff, did I miss one of yours? Oh man. Let's see here. I don't see what I missed, guys. Griff, I did go over your stuff with the mall stuff earlier on. Is that the one you're referring to? Or is there another one I missed? You know what? Also too, guys, I'll make a small confession. Okay? I'll make a small confession. Okay? Maybe you feel as though I'm being a little bit of a doomer. Maybe you feel as though I'm being a little unfair and pessimistic. Do you think that? Put a 1 into the chat. Oh, DJ, my bad, bro. Let me see if I can find it. Guys, chat, do you think I'm being a little bit of a doomer here? You think I'm being a little depressing? Yeah, throw a 1 into the chat if you think so, huh? Where's DJ's shit out here? DJ says, odds Filoni pulls a Bob Iger on Kathy like he did George. Sure, we'll do the Kinberg trilogy and then cancels that shit when she's gone. God, I hope so. Oh my God. Look at all these ones in chat. Well, guess what? You're wrong. No, you're right. You're right. Let me just say, I will admit one thing to you. I've had a little bit of a tough week, okay? And I was actually thinking about that because I was like, man, I had a frustrating week. Just some stuff going on, some family stuff, some other business stuff. I was digging into some Unity stuff yesterday, and some bad things happened. We're gonna be okay, but I was like, we don't need more problems with Unity. I need solutions with Unity. But the point is this: there's a little measure here. Like, let's just take 5, maybe 10% off the top of the negativity here. There might be just a little bit extra negativity today because I'm in a bad mood. Okay? All right? Is that fun? Justified says, look, Star Wars is dead, but how is Warhammer going to hate from outside of the club? Warhammer can't even get in. 58 months and you finally get this game. That's right. Woo, Justin. Woo, Justin, that's a good one. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 rage bait. 10 out of 10 triggering of Josh. Well, the thing about Warhammer and the club is, fuck a club, dog. Nuke that shit. Hive City. We don't go clubbing in Warhammer. Okay? We crusade across the stars in the name of the God Emperor. Oh, the Jedi were so peaceful. The Jedi doesn't do that shit. Fuck that! Suffer not the alien or the heretic to live. That's what it's about. Slanesh would go clubbing? That's true, actually. There are some people that go clubbing in Warhammer. Henny Boo Boo Productions, member for 15 months, says, if you need any help with Unity, I have a solid network and want to help if possible. Much love, she gone. Keep the clubs out of Warhammer. Appreciate you, man. Send me a DM. It's going to be okay, but it's just like, just another thing. At this point, it's par for the course, but my job is to fix all the problems and figure out how to get the book into people's hands, and that's what we're going to do. Or I could just say everybody complaining is toxic and sexist against me because I'm a man. You guys are unfair. You're treating me unfair because I'm a man. Jedis are the best. Jedis are pussies compared to the Adeptus Astartes. Are you kidding me? One Sith takes down the whole shit? Are you kidding me? And he was strolling around. This dude wasn't even hiding it very well. The Jedi, man. The Jedi. Star Wars can be successful in different ways than the MCU. It's more comparable to Avatar. Can we success with general audiences even without pop culture relevance? Yeah, so you're probably speaking a little bit to this chart that I made. Here, check this chart out. I like charts. Y'all like charts? You ready for a fucking chart? Hey, you ready for a little bit of a chart here? We're still recording? All right, well, fuck it. Let's save this in the segment. Keep this in the segment. Check this out and shut your mouth when you're talking to me. So I saw some people yesterday saying, oh, man, is it time for maybe Kevin Feige to step down as well? That's actually a good segue into our next segment, too, because we are going to talk a little bit about Marvel today. I saw people saying maybe it's time for Kevin Feige to step down as well, in a similar way. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. This is something I wanted to bring up right here, okay? This is a box office comparison. This is the MCU after Avengers Endgame. When everybody says it fell off, the dark times, the worst times we've ever experienced as Marvel. They made 13 films. They made $11 billion. Since 2015, the entire run of Star Wars movies that Kathleen Kennedy has been the president of made $5.9 billion. Like, do you get what I'm saying? And Star Wars had The Force Awakens, right? Which was just this like crazy thing. And you could say, like, even if you took the $3 billion of the Spider-Man movies out of this, it's still $9 billion to $6 billion. And it's when Marvel was falling off. And this is when Star Wars, like, couldn't make a movie. Remember, Kathy Goes to Bob Iger gets a break, then countless movies fall apart. The Dan and Dave stuff falls apart. The Rogue Squadron falls apart. I mean, literally on and on and on. The Ray movie falls apart. The James Mangold movie's on the back burner. Like, brother, if you look at, because everybody also says Kathleen Kennedy's just such a GOAT producer. Look at all of her accolades. Do you know that if you add up every movie that she's been a producer or even an associate producer on, you get to $19 billion. The MCU outgrossed her entire career in 10 years. And that's not to mention all the movies that Kevin Feige was a producer for and associate producer for, which was 13 Marvel movies before he got the job as a president. And I haven't even brought this up today at all, but really the worst thing Kathy ever did was refuse the assistance and the help of the GOAT, Kevin Feige. Now, look, he had his own problems going on. Obviously, there's a big fallout here, but look, the motherfucker made $11 billion while it was going to shit, right? And he's also turning it around. So I just think ultimately these comparisons, man, they just really speak to how bad Star Wars was handled. I think like around the time when Star Wars gets purchased, I think most people would have told you that Star Wars was as valuable as Marvel, if not more valuable than Marvel. I think Star Wars, if handled correctly from 2015 to now, would have made at least $11 billion. At least, if not way more. But it's been so mismanaged that they've done 5 films, made $6 billion, and they haven't made a movie in 7 years. That's Kathy, dude. Now, what the other dude was saying, his question was like, but they're different, and like you could make the argument that the average for the Star Wars movies is higher, and I think what he was saying about Avatar is like, maybe that's what Star Wars is. I just don't see... Maybe that's what Star Wars once was, but that does not mean that's what Star Wars should be right now in the modern fandom. And I just think it's really obvious that, at the very least, what you could say about Kathy, like maybe you don't believe me about the girl boss shit. Maybe you don't think she created this terrible culture. This is undeniable. The brand was underutilized. It has not popped off the way that it should have. That's really the truth. So yeah, I appreciate that question, but that's my answer to that. It's hard for me to even watch 1 to 6 now. I get bitter and butthurt. I mean, I was feeling the same way when the homie said that, but I didn't want to say it because apparently I've been really, really depressed today. I've been really negative about this shit. But yeah, no, it's the same for me, man. I mean, every time somebody gives me something Star Wars, like a part of me dies inside. Like, I don't want any of that. I don't want to be reminded. Nah. No thanks. Kathleen Kennedy says, rather MCU, DCEU, or Star Wars never went bad. Star Wars, 100%. 100%. Yes, the worst. It's the worst. Hey, speaking of the worst, we got to talk about the 4th Avengers Doomsday trailer. Hang on. I actually want to pull this up. This is actually interesting here. Let me see if I can find this here. I can either search Collider or Rob fucking Liefeld, because you know he had some shit to say about this. Wait, what's this?
Everywhere I look, people are being replaced.
Okay, and
What the hell?
who do you think is going to have you replaced?
Them, the puppet masters. The last time I had the dream, I was walking down the school hallway. And then I see Butters, and he's like, "Hey, Eric, you want to see what my mom packed me for lunch?" And that's when I start to notice that something's wrong. Everyone I cared about has been systematically replaced.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's not what we're looking for. Let me get the Collider article though. That's just kind of funny that popped up. All right, Collider's got some shit to say about Avengers Doomsday. I can't believe they said it. I gotta find the article. Sorry, hang on. Goddamn, they post a lot. It'd literally be easier to look at Rob Liefeld's feed. Oh, Roberto. What is this, dog? What? How many did you repost of this? Come on, man. Where's the... Okay, here we go. Where's the article? Okay, here we go. All right. All right, chat. We got to talk about this, man. This could be an alarming. It's bad. Okay, listen, Linda. So check out this post, and we'll also read the article a little bit here too. It says Avengers Doomsday new trailer confirms an alarming audience trend for Marvel. Wah, wah, wah. That doesn't seem good. What could this be about? Let's see. Let me get this sized up properly so we can go over this here. Okay. Here we go. Marketing for Avengers Doomsday officially kicked off a few weeks ago when Marvel released the first teaser confirming the return of Chris Evans, Steve Rogers, but things have fallen quite a bit since then. Marvel followed its first Doomsday trailer with another teaser focusing on Chris Hemsworth Thor, though his return had previously been confirmed in 2025's Big Chair reveal. The third trailer revealed the first look at returning X-Men stars like Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen and even James Marsden, and the final trailer, released just yesterday's, focused on Shuri, M'Baku, and the Fantastic Four. The first Avengers Doomsday trailer currently has 18 million views on YouTube, while the second sits at 17 million. The third teaser fell to 14 million, and then the fourth and final teaser only had 6 million views. This will rise in the coming days for sure, but it still shows that interest in the films appears to be trailing off. Uh-oh. It's unclear at this time when the Doomsday teaser will be released, but the last footage from yesterday may be the last for a while. The first official trailer will likely drop 3 or 4 months ahead of its premiere in December. Many fans felt it was a mistake for none of the teasers to show a look at Doctor Doom, especially considering he supplanted Kang the Conqueror as the new feature villain in the saga. However, this could be a ploy to build intrigue and hype in the coming months as fans speculate on how Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom is going to translate into live action. There are other confirmed characters such as Shang-Chi who have yet to be revealed in the Doomsday marketing. Okay, so the basic thing here that they're pointing out, and Rob Liefeld is quote tweeting and posting all over because Feige's lost his magic and mojo, and Rob's just got to let everybody know about it. The thing they're pointing out is like the trend went down. Now, you know, from 18 million to 17 million is not that bad. I think the 14 million one is pretty interesting, especially because that was the X-Men one. And then the 6 million at the end is quite strange as well. Now, the question is, does this point to a problem for the film? I think it does. But is that problem a lack of interest and hype? I don't think so. Okay, now, a couple of things could be going on here. I think several things are probably true at once with this story. Number one, I think the leaking aspect of this played a big role in it. Okay? And the thing I would say, actually, is the most shocking part of that whole thing was that the Thor trailer still got 17 million views on YouTube. Because the Thor trailer was like released around the same time that the X-Men trailer was leaked. And that leaked X-Men trailer sucked all the air out of the room. Pause. It really did. And I think that what you can really see in this pattern of trailers here is something that I've been kind of trying to point out for years now. And that is that the actual news cycle is controlled by the leaks and how the fandom responds to those leaks. I think one of the best examples of this is the second Joker movie. The second Joker movie bombed so incredibly badly that there really is no other explanation for it other than basically all the people that saw the first movie found out via the internet that not only was this not going to be as good as the first movie, but it actually spat in the face and shit on the legacy of the first movie. I mean, what other explanation is there? I personally think what you're looking at with these numbers is first teaser trailer leaks with Steve Rogers, and we're like, yo, that shit is absolutely incredible. And to be honest with you, a lot of people said it wasn't even that great, but there was a lot of interest. And I think being just the first one kind of brought in like an inherent interest to that. And then when that thing releases, right, people want to see it online. People want to check it out in high definition because unlike what you can do in the movie theater, you can pause, you can rewind, you know, and so you have a whole bunch of people like kind of scanning throughout the trailer to find clues, Easter eggs, or whatever that actually, you know, adds to a lot of the views and whatnot as well. And then you have the same going on for all of the other trailers. But what I would say is what happened with the X-Men trailer was it was actually so fucking cool that it leaked so early and so many people made breakdown videos, talked about it. Like, dude, like Ryan Arian and Screen Crash, they were right on it after the leak. And I think their video blew up when they talked about it. And so I think the leaks of X-Men were actually like so hyped up that most people by the time the trailer was actually released didn't even have like the same desire that they had for the Steve trailer or the Thor trailer to watch it on YouTube. And then what happened with the last one? Well, a similar story. The leaks happened, and they were bad because people don't care about Shuri Black Panther. I mean, they certainly don't care about Shuri Black Panther the same that they care about like the fucking X-Men, Thor coming back and giving an epic as shit speech, Steve Rogers returning to the scene. These are all way bigger of a deal. Way more intrigue is just inherent than Shuri Black Panther is meeting Ben Grimm. Okay? Now, this does speak to a potential problem for the movie, and I even said this when this trailer first leaked. This sucks because the fourth Doomsday trailer is kind of a harsh reminder that, oh yeah, there's a lot of characters in this movie and a lot of story that we don't give a shit about. Like, I legitimately do not give a fuck about Shuri's Black Panther. I'm sorry, I don't care. I don't care that much about Shang-Chi and his team. I really don't. Like, I don't care. I care about the hyped up shit. I care about the X-Men. I care about Doctor Doom. I care about Steve Rogers coming back. I care about maybe Tony Stark coming back. I do not care about any of this other stuff, man. And this does speak to a potential pitfall and a problem with the movie. But the problem for the movie is Marvel's trying to have their cake and eat it too. It's actually similar to a lot of criticisms I just levied at Star Wars and Dave Filoni and all that. They're trying to have their cake and eat it too. The degree to which Doomsday uses its resources to try to make the story of these unintriguing, uninteresting characters a big part of the movie is the degree to which this movie will fail to resonate with most people. That is actually how I feel about this. And so what's weird about it is it's almost like it's that Joker effect where people heard about the fourth trailer. They heard that it sucked. They maybe saw the leaks once or twice and they were good, dog. And I'm sorry, 6 million compared to those other ones, that is a pretty big fucking drop off. That is significant. And I think it just shows that that's an issue. And I would say this, Marvel, here's what I would say to you. And I would warn you that over the next year, if a lot of the marketing feels like this fourth trailer, you do have a problem. And if the movie is a lot of what is in the fourth trailer and a lot of the movie is the vibe of the fourth trailer, then you have a legitimate problem. And the leakers and the insiders are going to tell people really early if that's the case. And just like Joker, a lot of people will decide for themselves before they even see the trailer what the movie is. And then based on that decision, the thing they focus on, the story they make about it, they will take action either to go see this movie or not. So look, I don't think Collider's right. They're talking about how like just Doomsday in and of itself, people like lost interest in it. That's not exactly what happened. I think people decided that what was in the last trailer was not interesting. Do you see the difference? So that's what I think is going on. And look, I hope it's just like, I hope that the rest of the marketing is much better than the fourth Doomsday trailer. That, I think, is okay to say. That's okay to believe, and I really do hope that that's the way that it is. So anyways, I wanted to touch base on this. Chat, what do you think about this? What do you think about this shit? What do you think about this shit? Kayla says the fourth teaser is at 9 million views after 3 days. The crossover is what makes the MCU special. What crossover? Yeah, all right. 9 million is a lot better than 6 million, for sure. For sure. But you still believe everything I'm saying. I'm still right, right? It's still right? No? First Gaming says, I'm pissed. They drip feed us the entire phase 4, 5, and they're drip feeding us again with the marketing for the most important movie in the history of Marvel Studios. Give us Doom already. Yeah. I hear you. I think you're obviously going to get Doom in the marketing, and I think, I don't know. It just kind of depends on how you look at it. But again, I'm just talking about this article. I'm talking about their take. I disagree with their take slightly. Slightly. What else is everybody saying here? The fourth trailer, the most interesting person in the trailer might be Namor, which is sad. Also, make Shuri again. We need a new Black Panther. Yeah, like legitimately, I think that. Look, man, they want to show you. They want to tell you that Wakanda and they want to tell you that this is going to be a part of the story, and that's what they're trying to tell you. And I can see why, and I can see how. It's not exciting. You know what I mean? Like, there's just nothing exciting about that for me. IG Cap is 120 million views. Thor 47, X-Men 50 million, Shuri 34. Wow, okay. That's pretty interesting there. Yeah. Look at your super Corey. I just did, brother, didn't I? The fourth trailer, most interesting person was Namor, which is sad. Also, make Shuri again. We need a Black Panther. Yeah. I think this is like a thing for sure. It's just a little too far out to be excited about. Doomsday will be dope. That's undeniable facts. The only question is, how big will it be? Warhammer could never... You don't say that! Hey, Josh. It's mad weird how no one has said King has changed many characters like Iron Man and Ant-Man. When he remade the Sacred Timeline, he did this to take any future threats about himself. Yeah, there's definitely a possible thing there. It's like car racing. You have your superstars and you have your field hitters, but without the field hitters, you don't have a race. Yeah. Look, I'm just telling you that I think it would be a mistake to spend too many of the resources and too much of their time and energy into making sure that all those characters get their fair shake and have a satisfying story. Now, on the one hand, it's like the Russos are the best at this. So, like, if you're a big Shang-Chi fan, you'd probably be, like, feeling the opposite of me, where you're like, no. Like, I need to see what the Russos can do with that character that has helped other Marvel characters, and I really need more. Fair. I'm just saying that if you do it to the detriment of how the other characters should get shine and focus, you're fucking up. Fox X-Men should get a lot of shine. Toby's in this, John. He should get a lot of shine. You know, the OGs should get a lot of shine. I think the main Avengers should be kind of like mostly fodder, and also the emotional anchors for some of the other big characters. That's just how I see it. That's just how I see it, man. How do you think they will show Doom? Super Bowl spot? Brand New Day trailer? I think it'll be the Super Bowl spot. You know, by the way, Alex Perez is saying that the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer could be dropping any day. Its drop is imminent, which is cool. And I think we'll get some questions answered maybe by looking at that trailer, and that'll be fun. We'll do a little breakdown of it, man. We'll do a little breakdown. We're in the Doomsday now. I don't want to hear that shit. Thanks for the super chat, though. No, I don't want Doomsday. I feel like you're being a little harsh today, Josh. No, not me. No, but fuck that Doomsday, though. Fuck that. Delay that shit. Get Dune, go away. That's what I think. And I also think that Robert Downey Jr. should have given him a purple nurple on stage. He should have grabbed Marty Supreme up and just twisted them things, man. How do you think the MCU X-Men will be introduced? This is chill Josh Day. Yeah, it's a chill Josh Day. You mean before Secret Wars or after Secret Wars? before. I think they will be introduced as characters that got their X gene late in life, likely due to the snap or the blip or something like that. They're pushing Charlemagne heavy. Yeah, they are. And RDJ should have just twisted up his nips, you know what I mean? Like, imagine if he gave out like this blood-curdling, authentic squeal as RDJ just twisted him up. I mean, come on, that's a great clip. That would be incredible. Almost sound like what's that Star Wars sound effect where the guy dies? I think it like screams like that. Is anyone else more excited for Brand New Day than Doomsday? Nobody is, Robert. Nobody except people with Peter Griffin icons in their fucking YouTube name that get in here and just want to stir the pot and say crazy shit. No. I think Josh is a Timmy Shao hater. No, dude, I actually really like the dude, man. I actually really like Timmy C. You know what I mean? The Wilhelm scream. Yeah, imagine he gave a Wilhelm scream. RDJ twisted up his nip on stage and he got a classic Wilhelm scream. Come on, man. Come on. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah, man. Anyways, guys, that'll probably do on that topic there. Everybody agrees with me. And the first scene of the movie should be Doctor Doom just going around in a portal. And he's like, Shuri, snaps the neck. Miss Marvel, snaps the neck, you know? Gaia, snaps the neck, burns it. And then moves on. Oh, She-Hulk, ha, funny. I hope you enjoyed that podcast. Snaps the neck. I don't know. Name me some others, you know? We could go all day with this. So I'm glad we're all on the same page. We understand what's necessary, what has to happen, and looking forward to seeing that movie in a year. It's going to be great. All right. Hey, nice positive. Hey, that's a nice little positive Friday stream, huh? Let me hear it, huh? Feeling good. Good vibes. Feeling free. So much hope out there in the world. So much hope for our favorite franchises. What a glorious day. What a glorious day, huh? Any last minute thoughts, questions, concerns before we get on out of here? What are your plans for the weekend, man? What do y'all got going on? I think instead of killing the new Avengers, Doom could just be like, psh, you're not even worth Doom's time. Yeah, 100%. That would be so cool. Rooting for the Niners. There you go. Marvel Rivals. Yeah, how about that Deadpool thing? That's kind of cool, huh? Deadpool's all of them. Deadpool has all the roles. That's kind of fun. Did you see the theory about the trailers representing birth, life, death, and afterlife? Well, I mean, if that's the case, they should have had Steve Rogers, then Shuri, then maybe Thor and X-Men, right? Because the death is definitely phase 4 and 5. But yeah, it's a good theory. Warhammer snaps the neck. Hey, Warhammer do be snapping necks. They be snapping necks and cashing checks. Selling some shirts? Hell yeah, there you go. Why are you acting like you're going to play Rivals, man? I will someday. Still playing Arc Raiders? Yeah. I'm still playing Arc Raiders. Although, you know what? Look, I'm going to tell on my buddy a little bit here, okay? And it's he's my best friend. He's my best friend. But we had a night on Arc Raiders where, I mean, we got fucked up, dog. Like we were just getting slaughtered. We lost every team fight. We'd go in stacked to the gills, lose all of our goop, okay? And then dead ass, the next day, I sent him a meme where it's like, you know that one meme of like the white gal on the couch and all the brothers behind her? I did that, except it's like an Arc Raider and all the shredders behind him. And so I'm like, literally, I sent my buddy this meme or whatever, and he's like, and he literally tells me, Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was blacked out the whole time we were playing last night. The dude got off work early, got blackout drunk, and didn't even tell me. And the thing is, I couldn't tell. I was like, I didn't realize either. But like, and I was like, wait a minute, what? And he's like, yeah, no, I literally don't remember us playing last night. And I was like, you son of a bitch! It's like, dude, I lost all my goop. Anyway, we're still having fun on Arc Raiders, you know? Yeah. It's pretty good. So. Yeah. No, we'll probably play some this weekend. I got to catch up on work. I had a tough week of work, actually. I'm really trying to like catch up on some things. So I'm probably gonna put like a full day in tomorrow. I'm gonna chill a little bit tonight, you know, but full day tomorrow. Actually, my wife is taking the kids to grandma's, so I will have I'll have the whole house to myself. Which, look, it sounds like really cool, like, oh, Dad, but no, it's literally just to work. It's to literally be in this fucking room again and just make a bunch of content or whatever. But I need to do it. So we're gonna be working tomorrow. When's the next stream? Be Monday, brother. We'll be live on Monday morning. By the way, next week we'll have a members only stream. We're going to start the nerd e-fapping. We're going to e-fap to Iron Man 1. It's going to be good. Yeah. Can Amazon buy Lucasfilm and Disney on God? Probably not, brother. Missed your membership? All right, Assembling Rumble. Let me see what I can find you here, man. My only hope is Mando Season 3 and Book of Boba Fett were trash because Dave and John cooked so hard with Mando 1 and 2 that KK wanted to get involved. Yeah, fair. Hashtag 100% cooked. I'm coping. No. Look, that's fair, man. There's some stories about that. I mean, I've heard some stuff about her and John specifically that kind of make me think there's a little bit of beef there and whatnot. So... Look, I guess to maybe end the whole thing on more of a positive note, and I really just don't feel positive about it, right? So, sorry, but I guess what I would say is, technically, yes, there's now more of a chance than ever that something different happens. Like the possibilities of a new timeline happening and Dave doing something different, it's truly more possible than ever that something like that happens. And I guess if you really wanted to be positive, you would just say like, yeah, like, and that's why I'm excited. Fair. I don't feel that way. I don't have evidence as to why to feel that way. And I think, like, I just really got to say again, I really think the last 2 years for Star Wars have been terrible. And I think that the way Kathy retired and went about this was damaging to the brand. Legitimately feel that way. Ibsy says Mando Grogu about to make $3 billion. At this point, if Star Wars had some actual success like that, I would so have to rethink so many things about my life. Because it would make zero sense to me. Like, if Mando Grogu makes $1 billion, I might have to come out here on stream and be like, guys, I don't think I know anything. It would be so vexing to me that I would have to reconsider sort of the building blocks of how I make sense of the world. You know? I might have to consider the possibilities that my brain was replaced with mashed potatoes some years ago. Jurassic World made $800 million. Maybe Mando can too. Wow. Maybe. I'm on Rivals tonight. Nice, man. I hope you have fun. I might do a little painting later. Yeah, we'll see. You think there's going to be any Old Republic shows, movies at some point? Maybe at some point. I'd be interested to see if Dave pursued that and wanted to make that a big priority of the company. But yeah, I don't know. I see Mando making $500 million only because it's been years since there's been a Star Wars movie. Dude, I would be so impressed and frankly shocked if that movie made $500 million. I think that would be a huge success for them. And maybe that's just because like I really see that movie bombing. And I would say $500 million would be like a respectable amount. You know, like to me, $500 million says, despite everything, there's just still this cachet of Star Wars and people are willing to check it out. And then I would have to admit, hey, maybe it's not as damaged as I thought. And wouldn't that be cool? And then some of you guys would be like, hell yeah, see? Painting. Josh, is that some outside the club shit I see? What are you talking about, dude? The painting of Warhammer is incredible, man. Yeah. What a cool tactile thing to do, you know? Normies still like Star Wars. Yeah, but how many of them? How many of them still like Star Wars? And to what degree do they like Star Wars, you know? I guess we're gonna find out. All right. I think that'll do for today. Hey, look, I appreciate you guys being here. It's a real talk chat. I was a little bit grumpy today. I guess maybe Kathy should have retired sooner when I was a little more, feeling happier and more optimistic and maybe a couple of years younger. But alas, that's not what happened. And so I shit all over Star Wars today a little bit. Sorry about that. We'll see. It's just one man's opinion. We'll see what happens. We are living in a world where Kathy has less power over Star Wars, and that's good. I'm just not very optimistic, okay? But we'll see what happens. Today, yes, just today, Jay. Understatement. We should make a $500 bet. No, but maybe. We'll see. We'll talk about it. Let me think about it. All right. Appreciate you. Much love to everybody. Seriously, thank you guys for all the support. A lot of work to be done, a lot of nerd venging to do this year, next year, and into the future. I'm excited for all of it. And who knows? Maybe Star Wars will get his shit together. I guess we're going to find out. We'll find out together. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. Hang on. Cool Bear chiming in. I hope Dave makes Shin the face of the company. All right. There you go. There you go, Cool Bear. You did it. Well done. Right at the end. Right at the finish line, right? You got it, right? You did it. Okay. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome Monday, nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.
The following program, though in...
No. Yes. Wait, chat, put that other John on. The one from the beginning of the stream. Yeah. Yeah, put that on. Well done, my boy.
As time goes by, I never see you as much as I did when you many times you made a blunder by telling me you'll be with me through rain and thunder. I can't believe it's over. I can't believe we're through. I can't believe it's over. I don't believe it's true. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over. I can't believe it's true. Oh God, it's over. Oh, I can't believe it. No, no, please. Don't say it's over. I can't believe it's over. I don't believe it's true. I don't believe it's true.
Is everybody gone? Hey, Kathleen Kennedy's finally gone, you know what I'm saying? Did everybody leave? Well, Kathleen Kennedy finally left. Too bad she took a shit in the office before she closed the door. What the fuck? Hey, guess what? I'm retired. Oh, what's the future of Star Wars? Let me tell you what little pet boy Dave is gonna do for me. Wait, what, Kathy? You can't respond that way. Fuck you, write it. Unbelievable! And yet, in some ways, I can't believe it's over. And yet, in some ways, I miss being able to blame it all on Kathleen Kennedy. What am I gonna do? Anyway, I hope you have a great weekend. Take care of yourself out there. We'll be back at it on Monday. Clips will post tomorrow, probably through the weekend. And Papa Josh will be back here Monday. And I'll be feeling so much more refreshed, so much more optimistic. Hey, get on out of here. Do me a favor before you do, though. Open up your third eye. And wash out your stinky, stinky butt. See ya.